Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Arouse Podcast. Today I'm talking about exploring your bisexuality. If you have been curious about, the opposite sex and felt maybe an attraction to them, but you're not quite sure, this episode is totally for you. This has been, a very big theme on TikTok lately where there's been a lot of women exploring their sexuality and really questioning it. I think this is a really great thing because your happiness is what matters. So whatever your sexuality is, whatever you identify as, that's your truth. It's important for you to live as your authentic and true self. And if you're not living as that, then for me, not living as my authentic self in a variety of different ways in my own life, I felt like I was hiding, I was embarrassed, that people wouldn't accept me for exactly who I was, and therefore, I hid so many parts of myself for years. Actually, it was when I was in junior high, I was, barely this teenager thing. I had this attraction to women, to other girls, but I was going to a Christian school, and this was something that I did not feel comfortable talking about because I was so scared that someone would tell a teacher or, some other adult would find out, tell my parents, they would institutionalize me. That is something I was so afraid of because I wasn't sure what the Christians at this school would think, that it's you need to go to this therapy so that you don't turn gay because being gay is wrong. And I was so scared that that was going to come out. So I felt I had to hide these feelings that I had. So I didn't tell anyone. It wasn't until just a few years ago here that I finally discovered that, I am bisexual. I'm going to tell you my story on how I finally came about to figuring it out, that my story can help you on your journey to explore that side of yourself. Before I get into all the details, I just want to have a disclaimer here that if you do try to explore your bisexuality and, you find out that don't have this attraction to the same sex, then that's okay. I find it is an amazing experience for you to try new things and explore feelings and thoughts. And even if, you find out later, hey, this isn't actually something that I'm interested in, then you get to know yourself so much better, even if it's something that you don't end up, wanting to pursue. So after a breakup that I had, I was just kind of sitting around and I was like, well, what do I really want for my life? Am I really attracted to men? I've been interested in girls since I was a preteen and, I've never really explored that. So it's should I do that? And my first thing to do was go on Tinder. I tried talking to other girls and I don't know if they were in the same situation as me. They were almost scared to, try and meet up. And I was, ready to meet up, try out some stuff with them, but nothing ever really happened because the conversations never went anywhere. That was so frustrating for me because I was like, okay, well, it seems like these girls, are interested in maybe exploring, or maybe they are bisexual or lesbian. And, I want to try that, but no one was taking my bait. I eventually learned that I was acting a little bit desperate, and obviously desperation does not attract anything, as well as I do think some of the other girls that I was talking to, they just weren't ready on the level that I was, even though both of us were probably at the same level of experience, which was none. But I was ready to explore that side and try things and, do all the research and learn all these things to try, even with someone that has never explored with another woman before. And so I was really trying to focus on, what I wanted and not what other people thought, because I wasn't obviously in school anymore. I wasn't around very many Christians. It's really your decision to make whether you want to explore something or not. And then if you decide to tell people about it, later on to close family or friends of yours, if it's important for you to tell them, for them to know it, then, hold that to your truth. If your truth is just exploring that, you don't really care for people to know everything about you, then that's okay too. Don't feel like even if you find out that you are bisexual, that you have to go and tell the whole world. It is your choice on if and when you tell people, because because even relating back to Nikki tutorials on YouTube, she came out as transgender, but it wasn't in her time. She, didn't get to choose her timing on that. And she was ultimately blackmailed and forced to tell her truth to the world when, it could have come at a different time that felt really good to her and felt, authentic and aligned with her. But at that point, it was more of a forced nature, which, was a blessing in so many different ways to the world, I do believe. But for her, felt that she didn't want to share it in that way in that time. It wasn't her timing. That's not fair to anyone. And you're the one that gets to make that choice on when you get to share that with people that you care about and people that are important in your life. Once I decided that I'm like, hey, I'm done with Tinder, we're just going to take this as a break. I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to take a break from this. I was actually talking to a friend of mine. Somehow we got onto the topic of, me wanting to explore my bisexuality. Oh, I have, a girlfriend of mine. She's been searching for someone to explore with. Maybe you guys will match up and get along, that you guys can explore together. I got so excited about this. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, someone that wants to do this? Because I had so much, quote unquote, like bad luck trying to find a woman that was like wanting to hook up with me and explore, so I could at least figure out if this is something that is part of my authentic self, that I am bisexual. We didn't hook up the first time. We met for like appetizers and drinks. This was at a point where I was still drinking. We got along very well. It wasn't awkward at all. It was really great. So we agreed that, maybe the next time that we see each other, we can, start exploring a couple things together and just like slowly move down the ladder. It was so easy for me to go out with a guy and like jump into bed with him. But with this, I was wanting to be so much more intentional with it, because I'm like, this is going to be my first experience. I really want to explore certain things that I've always wanted to try. And, I honestly believe that having this experience with these certain things is going to help me figure out if I am bisexual, if I'm attracted to other women or not. Not gonna lie, the very first time that we hooked up, it was awkward at the beginning. Like, I was so like out of my comfort zone because I'd never done this before. Having sex with a dude, I've done it so many times that it's literally like riding a bike, as it's the truth. Because when you do something over and over and over again, doesn't matter if it's with someone new or not, it can be so easy to just have sex with someone of the sex that you've done it with so many times. When you switch that, you go to the opposite sex, a completely different experience. And at least for me, I was like, I don't really want to fuck this up. Like, I want to have, the best experience possible with this, because we're on the same page. We've talked about this beforehand, what we like, what we don't in general with sex. And then, exploring certain things that we both want to try. And there was a lot of communication that went in with it as well, because even I was like, hey, like, do you like this? Like, do you want to switch this instead? There was still a lot of communication. Nothing ruined the experience. Like, it was really great overall. At the end of it, once, we'd kind of finished, I had almost like this epiphany that it was like, wow, that was really great. I can't believe I've been missing out on this for half of my life, because like, this is a part of me that now feels fulfilled. I have explored this part of myself that I've been wanting to explore for, at that point, it had been 10 years that I had been having these thoughts that I want to explore that. It fulfills a part of my soul that I had been wanting to explore for a very long time. If you are craving to explore your bisexuality, I really encourage you to do it. There are so many different ways that find someone to explore this with. Honestly, just keep an open mind about it. If you find that you don't like it, or maybe just the experience was bad, then don't hold on to that in a bad way, because you could always try it with someone new. Or even if you're like, you know what, I just didn't like this, because it was even in a Degrassi episode that two best friends hooked up, and one, she did find out that she was a lesbian, and the other one, she was like, I tried to like it for you, but I just couldn't get into it, and I like boys. There's a couple different sides of the spectrum. Like, you can like completely not like it, even if it's with the right person and the right environment. you could find out that you're bisexual, or you could find out that you're lesbian and you just like women. Finding that out for yourself, whether it's any of those options or anything in between of those, and maybe it's just your comfortability level. Figuring out who you are, your true self, and living as that is what's going to make you happy. Even though I haven't hooked up with a woman in quite a while, I still feel fulfilled in the fact that I have, and I found that part of myself. Not that I do it all the time, because, I've been with Logan, still fulfilling that part of myself, exploring that and figuring that out is what fulfilled my soul. So not saying you have to do it all the time. It is so individual, and, sharing my experience with you, I really hope that this helps you find your way, find your authenticity, your true self, and start living as her so you can live a happy life. So you're not hiding parts of yourself from everyone else, being miserable while everyone else is content. You're not here to make everyone else comfortable. Like, you're here to have a good life. You were made for a purpose. The universe made you for a purpose. They made you with so much love and creativity when they made you, and you weren't made to be miserable and go to work and come home and sleep. Like, you were made to have an amazing life. Start living that by exploring your bisexuality and seeing where it takes you and what comes out of that experience. I love you so much, and I will see you in next week's episode.